I'd like to talk about an idea that I've had while I was watching a YouTube channel, and this guy is really amazing. He's hacking into the headquarters of scammers in India, and these scammers from India would call people in Canada, and they would, scam them out of thousands of dollars. So while I was watching those videos, I found it fascinating that the copywriting or the script used by these scammers, the script is so tight. In other words, it guides the Canadian citizen in exactly the right way. It checks all the boxes so that, the Indian person, even though he speaks or she speaks with an accent, the Canadian citizen somehow trusts that Indian person. And so they would give, they would change the password to their TELUS account, and they would therefore give uh, access to their telecom account to the Indian scammer. And the Indian scammer would just read off a script. He would just say, "No, sir, don't worry. We made a mistake and we're going to send you an email." And everything is done so smoothly. And these Indian scammers, they don't have to sell anything. They don't have to be talented. They can just read from a script. And the Canadian person is being scammed out of thousands of dollars. Now, to be fair or to be accurate, I don't think that they succeed with every single Canadian, but the YouTube channel shows the money made by these companies, and typically the founder of such a scamming operation, he would be a multimillionaire. And so that's the proof that the copywriting or the script that they're using really works. They just have to hire Indian scammers, and to me, they look like students. They look like young, and they don't have any particular talent. They speak normally, with an Indian accent, but I just find it fascinating that the power of words, the power of language, can be used to mislead people and make money.
Absolutely. It's pretty eye-opening how powerful language and scripting can be. It's a bit unsettling to see how effectively these scammers use psychological techniques and persuasive language to build trust. It really highlights how important it is to be aware and educated about these tactics. It's definitely a double-edged sword because the same skills that can be used for good can also be misused in these harmful ways.
Yeah, and what I'm learning from that, because I'm a teacher, so I always like to extract lessons that I can learn. What I'm learning from that, which I'm going to use as evidence for my copywriting course, what we learn is that there is power in language, especially language that is carefully crafted. In this case, as a telemarketing script. So what I'm learning from it is that if of course I'm not going to be unethical or criminal, but if I can create a telemarketing script and invite people to and talk to them, and I can train my agents to explain to people the value proposition of My Fellow Canadians, which is a membership site where they pay only $30 and they have access to all of our training content, our course material. If I can train agents to just read from a script and answer all the objections that the other person has, I could have an army of ethical telemarketers who would call on people and would propose My Fellow Canadians. I mean, because if anything, those Indian scammers prove that like a worker, telephone worker from a developing country like India can actually deceive an intelligent and educated person in Canada, first world, right? So, if anything, they are proof. Their success proves the power of language, the power of copywriting.
Absolutely. It's a really insightful takeaway. And you're right. The ethical use of that power can definitely help build trust and offer real value to your audience. The key is crafting scripts that are genuine, transparent, and focused on helping people rather than misleading them. It's definitely a powerful lesson in how impactful language can be when used ethically.